So after side one, we'll switch legs. So first my right leg was in front, now my left leg is in front. And we're gonna find the same working hips. You might notice that with the other leg in front or your second leg in front that it's a little bit harder sitting upright or just different. You might be pushed a little bit to one side. Again, you can adjust with a pillow or a blanket. Just knowing there are asymmetries in the body and it's fine. You're working it. They will change or not. Okay, so we're going to pull the sits bones back. And I'm going to show my side here. And by all means, my spine is not, or my posture is not unicorn perfect. Meaning in the perfect world of unicorns and rainbows, no. So we'll just see what we can do. So I just want to show really quick here what happens when we push the sits bones back, how actually here my bra strap area, diaphragm, upper diaphragm area gets kind of pushed a little bit forward. And that's one of the things we try to avoid. So we're pulling the sits bones back. Yes, my ribs are pushing forward, but then can I yield my diaphragm slightly back? And you can tell as I move my ribs back here, my head is coming forward. It's not really moving, but since I'm moving my ribs, my brain perceives my head not to be too far in front. If I let my ribs come forward again or pushing forward, that feels much better to the brain right now. But if I yield the diaphragm bra strap area back, now my brain perceives I'm going to fall forward or my head is way too far in front. So let's deal with that sensation for a moment. So I'm pulling my sits bones back. I'm taking my diaphragm back. I am pushing my legs down into the ground, keeping that diaphragm back, and then maybe my shoulder blades can pull a little bit together. So shoulder heads widening, shoulder blades pulling together, and then maybe my brain settles back a little bit. It's not about raising the chin up and taking the head back or just pulling the head back, closing off the throat. It's, as mentioned before, they're all micro adjustments for a macro effect. I'm revisiting. Sits bones pull back, knees pull apart, diaphragm settles back, shoulders pull slightly together, and then the brain settles slightly back as well. And I can feel this. My legs are shaking. My core is engaged. I'm still trying to hollow my navel, my kidneys slightly back in space. So there is a curve in my lumbar spine, but it's the tiniest little curve. And there's definitely no extension in my upper back. I'm yielding that back. I'm breathing. My shoulders are soft. The collarbones are wide. And release consciously. Just let it soften. Let's find it again together one more time. I'll show the front. My sits bones pull back, down and back. My knees pull apart. Glutes are turning on. I'm yielding the navel slightly back. I'm not tucking my pelvis. There's no movement happening in the hip just because my navel floats back. My sits bones are still aiming behind me. My rib cage softens, so my diaphragm comes back as well. My shoulders slide slightly together, and then maybe I'm lifting, I'm sliding the brain just a little bit back. And even if your head is really far forward, if that is what you perceive, don't worry about it. work the base, start finding better alignment in your hip and in your knees, and the rest will follow. But if your pelvis is constantly tucked and your hips are really tight and your knees are here, we're changing your head and skull and rib cage will not matter because you haven't fixed the base. Let me know how that goes.